Hello there, and welcome to Fixing the Sequel Trilogy, the Writers' Room podcast dedicated to fixing the Star Wars sequels. Each week, we take a closer look at one part of the galaxy, how the sequels ruined it, and how we might fix it in our version. I'm Bryce Quinn, and I'm joined by the #1 Babu Frik fan, Sandro Karayan.
Babu.
Enough said. I'm also joined by our resident sequel trilogy expert, Cole, Forfang fan.
Yeah,
Cole, have you seen Rise of Skywalker yet?
No, but I went and watched a compilation of all of Babu Frik.
Yes!
All 2 minutes
That's
of it.
so much more research than I thought
I
you'd
read
do.
an interview with
perfect.
the puppeteer who said that Babu Frik does have this internal conflict where he has a lost love,
Yeah.
apparently. So,
That's so funny because I was thinking
Yeah.
about him actually having a lost love.
yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Me too. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This is
Wow.
incredible.
Babu fucks.
Babu fucks, Babu fricks.
Okay, so Cole,
Hey.
I'm so glad you did some research. I was
Yeah.
expecting you to say no because you still haven't seen Rise of Skywalker,
No,
but it
but
doesn't matter because
Frik.
we're only talking about Babu Frik today. Babu Frik is a character that is near and dear to our hearts. This episode will be diving into the deep lore of the character and the many possibilities that lie therein. If you're a bit confused as to why we're doing this, we're huge Babu Frik fans. We love him to bits. The Anzellan's probably one of the best additions to the Star Wars canon
Absolutely.
that the sequels
Absolutely.
managed to drag in with all the other bullshit that was
Bubble.
attached to it. Like, yeah, I'm not actually going to make an analogy there. It
Mm.
was just gross. Sequels bad, but Babu Frik rules.
Babu Frik.
We're going to start off, as we usually do, talking about Babu Frik in the sequels. Fucking, I just love this boy.
Yeah, he's kind of cute.
He
Kinda
is great.
cute.
Are we doing like an analysis? What we dislike? What we dislike? Nothing.
Yeah,
Perfect.
We'll
What
start
can
with
you
that, and then we'll
dislike?
go to the likes, obviously.
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, I always loved Babu Frik's edition. He's just a really great touch of comedic relief. He's just hilarious.
It makes me smile.
He just makes
honestly.
me smile. He's just really funny and like endearing.
Yeah.
It's like one of those perfect little puppet side characters. I think that's one of the few things J.J. Abrams actually does understand about
Yeah.
Star Wars. He's like, the puppets make it, and he's right.
Yeah.
The puppetry really is like a core part of what makes the original trilogy work so beautifully.
Yeah.
And obviously having fucking Jim Henson and the Jim Henson Company
Yes,
part of
yes.
it.
Yeah.
It's just like
absolutely.
it's just one of those timeless touches that makes the original trilogy and stuff like Pan's Labyrinth so incredible. He really works magic. He's an incredible.
Yeah.
It feels there. It feels so a part of the world. A thought I was thinking of, and I'm just going straight into what I love.
Yeah, go for it.
Something that feels like particularly Star Wars to me is, let's say you have a scale of weird, right? And it's
Yeah.
like weird, 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 weird. You don't want to put something in this category of
Don't do visuals because we're on a talk show.
Okay. So imagine there's
do like
like
a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10 or something.
0 to 100, and
Okay.
everything within 0 to 100 is just weird, and it's
Okay.
just how weird you are from 0 to 100.
Okay.
Preferably, you kind of want it at 0 if you're trying to like make something like very easily comprehensible to the character, but something about like comprehensible to the story and
to the
comprehensible
audience?
to the audience.
Yeah.
Sorry, but something like about Star Wars is I feel like when you crank it up to 101,
Yeah.
when you crank it past the limit,
Just
of
like a tad past.
so batshit weird,
Yeah.
it suddenly just makes sense.
And it just works.
It just
Yeah.
works. Like you have this L-shaped head alien that has 2 mouths.
That's a
up the
really
side
good
of its head.
example.
Or you have the devil in Mos Eisley.
The
Yeah,
devil
like-
in Mos Eisley, or the
Exactly.
Wolfman, or something comes to mind is Salacious Crumb. As
Salacious
well.
Crumb.
And even I think Jar Jar like works for this
Jar
as
Jar,
well.
Yeah.
Dexter. from-
Dexter,
Yes,
Dexter from
yes.
the sequel.
I will get
it just,
into him.
it's just like, it's so weird, but like
Yeah.
they've just gone all in with the weird factor.
And just the fact that Dexter exists within like a 80s retro bar.
Yeah.
In
that's-
Coruscant
that's
is
the
just the most batshit stupid
Yeah.
fucking thing ever.
It's
You
so stupid.
need that-
But it's so
sudden-
funny.
It suddenly just makes sense. It's like, yeah, this feels like this is part of the world. This is in Star
I
Wars.
guess this is in
Yeah.
Star Wars, yeah.
And I
you just
think
roll
Babu
with it.
Frik perfectly hits that as well.
Yeah.
Like he's just a tiny little guy. He's got like this huge weird mustache
Yeah.
thing, but he talks like a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
But he's somehow like a master droid smith as well.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
fucking
amazing.
weird, but
That's
it's
the
so
thing.
perfect.
You need to have the brain of someone who's fried from all the acid they did in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
Yes, yes. And we aspire to that, and we're going to try and stick to that.
I'm so glad you're
off-
foreshadowing Dexter.
Yeah, Babu Frik is fantastic. We see him in Rise of Skywalker when they bring in the team and C-3PO to rewire his brain so that it can translate from Sith. And it's a fun little scene. C-3PO I've always hated, and I hate in this movie as well, and I wanted
I
him
don't
to die.
hate C-3PO. Like I disagree with that, but
This being the scene that we get Babu Frik, it's like, fine, he's a droid smith, engineer, mechanic of some kind, and he's ripping C-3PO's brain to pieces so they can translate from Sith.
and usually like in some movies you'd have like the super geeky guy,
Yeah.
and like the main characters will go to them, like they'll be like, oh, we need you to hack this, or we need you to
Yeah.
fix this thing, and he'll be like,
Like the sweaty guy from Ocean's 11.
yeah, and he'll be shooting all this technical jargon, and they're like, give it to us in English, you know?
No,
Yeah.
And Babu does that, but he does it in the cutest way. Like he'll just be like, and Ray will be like, what's he saying? And like Zori Bliss will just like
Yeah.
translate.
Yeah. And it's very much like that Star Wars way of delivering it. And if it had just been a human with like some gizmo goggles on,
Yeah.
can you imagine
Yeah.
how much that would have sucked?
It would've.
You know, like
See-
I'm glad we got what we got.
Yeah, like I love that Babu's voice always sounds like he's on his dying breath. He's going like, bubble, bubble.
Babu did like chain smoking.
Also,
Yeah.
if you didn't press play on this episode thinking that we're going to be doing our Babu Frik voices, I'm sorry to disappoint
No,
you.
it's happening. It's all we're all in.
Hey.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
the
Practice
droid
it,
is
yeah.
ready.
You don't need to practice.
That's what he says. I'm thinking,
droid
what does
is
he say?
ready.
Droid
Yeah.
is ready.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
And then so we get that scene in Kajimi, and then Kajimi gets blowed the fuck up later on in the movie.
And we're so scared
And
because
we're
we
like,
think
Babu's
Babu
gonna,
just died.
he's gonna be dead. He's gonna be another fake out death. And guess what? He is, because he comes back in the finale with all the ships and everything, and
He's
he's
like in
he's
the
behind,
cockpit with Zori Bliss. He
behind
like,
It's
Lando.
an exact
pops up on the
copy-paste.
windshield.
and we get the one of the best trailer moments of all time, where it's like, "There's more of us, Poe. There's more of us." Way!
Yeah, when
Beautiful.
I was watching the compilation, right, the 2 times he says "hey hey," I think it's the exact same like voice line, copy
like, they
pasted.
just copy pasted.
I,
Yeah.
I believe you. I
Yeah.
believe that. If you get
Who's
it
the
perfect
voice
once, you
actor?
don't want to change it.
It's so
I'm getting it
I'm
up.
not sure, but it's like this lady, the same lady who puppeteered it. I think
awesome.
I think she learnt how to puppeteer so that she could do the voice on set. And my favorite clip
That's
is
fantastic.
it's when they're shooting the Babu Frick scene, and J.J. Abrams is trying so hard not to laugh. It's like there's just like this 2-minute scream she does.
That's really funny.
Shirley Henderson is a Scottish actress. Accolades include 2 Scottish BAFTAs, a VFCC award, and a Oliver Award, which
Mm.
is huge.
for her role of Babu Frick.
And
And then I heard an Academy Award and a Golden Globe for her role as Babu Frik.
I
Right?
snubbed.
Snubbed.
Yeah.
This is why we don't watch the Oscars.
This is why we don't watch the Oscars. Anyway, that's like a brief recap of Babu Frik and his monumentally important role in the Rise of Skywalker.
It's similar to like what felt right with BB-8.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're kind of like beautiful, charming.
And the name is very Lucasy.
Yeah, Babu Frik. Yeah.
Mm.
But anyways,
Babu.
so obviously we're not like
He says his own name like a Pokemon as well.
Bubble.
we're not fans of Rise of Skywalker at all.
Mm.
I'll watch it just because it's a time,
For Babu.
and I'll watch it for Babu.
watched it
And
in a
he's
while.
definitely one of the most redeeming aspects of the movie.
Yeah.
He's a great addition. And the reason we wanted to do this episode is we're like, you know what? Of all the things we're going to scrap, Babu's definitely not going to be one of them.
I wanted Babu to stay in. Like,
from day one.
Yeah.
More Babu.
it's so weird that he seems he's only important because of like the stupidest plot contrivance ever, where it's like, oh, this droid can't learn Sith, but it's technically in the data bank. It's technically in its files.
Yeah.
Why not just like take the file out?
In a movie where 70% of the plot is contrivance and it's going from place to place trying to do these little mini side quests along the way, it's fine that we got Babu Frik the way that he is. Like
Yeah.
it was never going to be good.
And Kijimi's kind of a cool planet as well.
Kijimi is cool, and we're definitely interested in trying to find a way to make Kijimi
It's
work.
kinda
It's
like-
just visually very interesting.
Got those like that like Nepalese Alps kind of vibe.
Yeah. It's like you
Um,
got a town and you got a city, but it's like covered in snow, and it's like
on the mountainside.
on the mountainside, it's like rises and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
But yeah. So where are we going with this?
We're
now?
gonna go to our pitches for what we would love to change with Babu Frik, and then later on we've got something very special for you guys, and we're gonna hit
Okay.
you with that later. So stay tuned. But for now, we're gonna stick to our usual schedule, our usual structure. How we would change Babu Frik. Who wants to start? I've got something pretty
Alrighty.
explosive.
I don't want to change him too much. I think he's perfect how he is. He's a side character. He's a small character. He's cute, and he's
Yes.
a droid smith. I love the fact that he's a droid smith. He's like tiny,
Ah.
and he can get
Yeah.
into those little
That's
cracks
true.
and like get in the little nitty gritty. Like it's like a small circuit board's like just like a standard operating table for him, and it's cool, and I like it,
I like that too.
and I want him to still be a droid smith.
I've got no interest in droid smithing. Babu Frik makes lightsabers, baby.
Uh,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Follow me on my little journey here. So,
okay.
Babu Frik should build lightsabers, which
That's
implies
actually-
this was my first thought. And so, and
Is
I was
this just so you could get lightsabers out in the galaxy?
no. So this is just like I'm gonna read these out in the train of thought that I wrote them last night before I went to sleep. So Babu Frik should build a lightsaber. Great, I like that idea. Which implies that Babu should be in some way key to the story of the wielder of said lightsaber. So if he's gonna make Rey's lightsaber, he should be involved in the story somewhere. Side
Babu's
character,
mentor.
absolutely.
Right.
Not a mentor.
Yeah.
No.
Babu.
And then the next thought that followed on. Perhaps Babu helped Luke build his lightsaber years ago.
Oh my god.
Follow me.
Okay.
Follow me. Stay with me. This leads to a seedy underbelly quest to Kijimi led by Luke, who is training Rey, ?
Okay, so I had a... Okay, no. You just finish. You finish up.
The reason Luke knows Babu Frik is because years ago, when he lost his arm and lightsaber to Darth Vader, he needed a new lightsaber. I understand that there is definitely comics that follow this story. I don't care. The droid we see in the Ahsoka TV show, he's dead and gone in our canon. He's not around anymore.
Yep.
How does Luke build his lightsaber? He needs a master lightsaber smith.
The master lightsaber smith.
And who better to do it than Babu Frik?
Look, there's certain like implications that I'm like not the biggest fan of, but I think
Yes.
it's kind of cool at the same time.
I'll allow it for Babu.
My thing is, it's like, I love the idea that building a lightsaber is very difficult. And there was that
Yeah.
one droid in the Clone Wars who was like, I'm the lightsaber building droid. The idea that Luke was able to build it by himself
Yeah.
is always something that I felt was a bit strange.
Yeah, but I think to get serious for a moment,
Oh.
I think it's powerful though that Luke builds his own lightsaber because lightsaber craftsmanship has always been an important like sort of rite of passage for a
Yeah.
Jedi. But I'll make exceptions for Babu.
Yeah.
No, well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, lightsaber craftsmanship is a rite of passage for Jedi.
Yeah.
Through the help of the lightsaber building droid.
Mm.
You know?
Old canon was
Yeah.
that he found schematics for Obi-Wan's lightsaber and spare pieces,
Yeah.
as well as a green kyber crystal in Obi-Wan's hut back on Tatooine. And that's why his lightsaber looks so similar to Obi-Wan's in
Yeah.
the new one.
But green.
I quite like that canon.
You can still keep that.
Yeah.
How the fuck does he know how to build it?
Yeah. I had no
He
idea.
needs help.
You find
Yeah.
like schematics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is not, we've never seen him to be a craftsman or a builder.
Right.
Anakin was.
Yeah.
He built C-3PO in a
But-
fucking in a cave full of scraps.
Yeah. But he still has Yoda to guide him and all that. And the Force Ghosts.
He has when does he build that lightsaber?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
between 5 and 6.
Yoda's not dead yet.
No, but the next time he sees Yoda is in Return of the Jedi when
Yeah.
he dies. So he
Yeah,
doesn't see
yeah.
him between there,
Ah,
like losing
you're
his
right.
hand and seeing Yoda.
Yeah, but
like
maybe,
he
yeah.
has his lightsaber by the time he goes back.
Everyone's Force Ghosts.
Yeah, no. Obi-Wan's
I
first
don't
ghost
know,
is like,
yeah.
hey, go find Babu Frik.
Go find
Go
Babu
find this
Frik.
guy who can.
Yeah.
All I'm
I,
saying is the technical expertise of building a
Yeah.
lightsaber should be something that is difficult. Building it yourself and being a part of that forging process is still very important and a
Yeah.
rite of passage. But having the person there who can do the nitty gritty welding, I think, is
Yeah.
a cool character spot to be filled.
Yeah. I
That's all
like
I'm saying.
I like the image.
Yeah.
I actually had no idea about the lightsaber droids. I think I'm still used to old
Yeah.
canon.
But
Old canon, they just build it themselves.
Yeah, well, what they would do is they would go to Ilum
Yeah.
and find the crystal, and then they would
That's-
like build it.
So that's
there,
still
you
the
know,
canon.
spiritually.
So the droid actually just helps like,
Find the pieces.
gives them pieces and like helps them understand the mechanics.
Yeah.
The Jedi still
Yeah.
puts the lightsaber
And they
together.
like
Yeah.
fuse it with the force kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Which is like I think still very cool. I'd rather
Yeah.
that rather than Babu like welding the thing
Babu.
together.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
a pitch I had was instead of relation to Luke, he's a relation to Han.
Mm.
And Babu Frick is actually not just a droid smith, but also doubles down in engineering.
Mm.
And he's the one who fixes the Millennium Falcon's navigation system
Ah.
and the
Ah.
droid inside of it, because we get the droid inside of it in Solo.
Yeah, Solo.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in our canon, we've established that Solo, all the live action movies plus the Andor TV show is our canon, not the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
So Solo is canon for us, which means that in the canon of that movie, there's a droid inside the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I've never been the biggest fan of.
Yeah,
See,
neither.
I think instead of a droid, we should just put Babu inside the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. He just
Rolling
scoops out the innards. He's like, get out of here, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I'm in here now.
And he
just
gets like
lives
a
there.
he's like a
That's it.
weird like mechanical helmet. He puts it on his head.
Yeah, he, like-
becomes one.
He jacks in like
Trapped in
Cerebro.
the walls.
And they open it up. It's like halfway through the movie, it's like, oh, we got to fix the hyperdrive. They open up the panel. It's just Babu just
Yeah.
sitting there in Cerebro.
But he's fried
And Ray's
Ship
like,
is
what
ready.
the fuck?
in the ship part of the ship.
Yeah.
God.
You're like scarred up and burnt. Looking like Darth Vader. And Han slams the doors and like, get back to it, Babu.
Han just bullies Babu.
No, because he has to think it's like Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
And he needs two pilots.
They have two Anzellans in there.
Yeah. Or like Han joins him and they sync up and like Babu gets all of Han's memories and Han gets all of Babu's memories.
I've been saying this for years. We need to start writing Star Wars comics because this is what
Yeah.
they're like.
This is what they're like.
True, it is
No,
true.
this is actually what they're like. It does hit this level.
Anywho,
Wow.
So that's your pitch, that he should be like a friend of Han.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like through the crime underworld kind of stuff and the
Yeah.
smuggling
Yeah,
connections.
because he is like a full-blown criminal mastermind.
Yeah, well, my question is, like, how does droid smithing really tie into the narrative? That's why I like the lightsaber smithing part of it, or like, you know, being in some
Yeah.
way connected to forging and like collecting the parts and
Yeah, right.
materials for a lightsaber, because it's intrinsic to the character's journey, as opposed to like, oh, we've got to take this fucking plot MacGuffin and move it over to this plot MacGuffin so that Babu Frik can fix it. It's more of what we're seeing in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's my only thing with like the droid smithing stuff, and why I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan.
Yeah, I kind of like ditched that from like my treatment. I'm just like, oh, he's a droid smith. He does a droid thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily want them to go to him for anything specific.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Definitely not C3PO.
Yeah, definitely not C3PO.
I'm killing C-3PO in the first movie, I swear to
No,
God.
please no.
No, he has to be around.
No.
It's C-3PO, R2-D2, and Palpatine. Are the three characters who are going to be there the whole time.
Somehow 3PO has returned.
Somehow 3PO returned, and he's all red now. He's just all red.
Sith droid.
He's one gold foot.
And when I say Palpatine, I mean like Palpatine's influence. He's not actually going to be
Yeah.
physically there.
Yeah.
At least in the current
Palpatine
pictures.
in C3PO.
But anyway, we're not talking about fucking Palpatine today. We're talking about Babu Frik.
Okay,
Cole,
Frik.
you got a pitch for us today?
Sure, you know what? I will take it away.
Here we go.
So we best get the crazy one out of the way.
I'm
It's
playing
a
around.
pretty simple plot. In a galaxy where even heroes stumble into moral grey zones. Babu Frik, a Star Wars story.
Oh, we're not there yet.
Oh, shit. Okay, sorry. Spoilers.
No, I thought I meant like in the terms of like in the
in
shape of
canon?
reshaping the sequels.
in the trilogy.
How would you put him in?
I think you could bring Babu Frik in much earlier. I mean, I'm honestly not sure in what capacity he would be good, because I do like seeing him like fiddle away
Yeah.
on C3PO. The Sith droid part is what kind of like freaks me out.
No,
a
it's
little
just fucking
strange.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, maybe it's even like, I don't know, repairing.
Yeah.
Like,
If there's
Luke's
like a
old lightsaber
home
or
ship
something.
and he's the guy in the home ship that like does
Yeah.
the repairs. Although I don't know how he'd like run around. Like usually when they're repairing the ships, they're frantically running from like aisle to aisle, and I don't see Babu doing that.
It's a lot more laid back of an experience because you've got these tiny puppets and they're just like sparks kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not really moving a whole lot because they're puppets.
He
You don't
gets
want
he gets to live in his process.
Yeah.
I think is
Yeah.
what you're trying to say. Like he gets to really like take his time and like be methodical. with
Yeah,
how
and
he
you
does
don't
things.
want to have the Baby
Mm.
Yoda effect of like a bunch of puppets flipping
Yeah.
around, running hallways and stuff. It can't
Yeah.
be an action-packed repairs mechanic shot.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
but like, what if like he repairs something and then somebody grabs him and chucks him to the other side, of the
Yeah.
room?
What if?
And then he grabs onto a pole and then he starts repairing something over there.
oh my god.
What if he is the master code breaker?
Oh no.
Yeah, think
Don't
about
say
that.
Master Codebreaker when
Master
we're talking
Codebreaker.
about fixes to the sequel. That's not a part of what we're doing here.
Two birds, one brick.
I'm thinking about like how Babu can be like incorporated in a lightsaber sense now, and I'm
Yeah.
like, can he like design schematics? But does that feel like
Design cinematics or build the pieces. If you still have that idea of the Jedi has to fuse it all together, they still have to find the pieces. They still have to have the pieces. If they don't all have them, they need to get schematics and molds to like get metal and smelt them and forge them, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And
Mm.
bring those pieces into existence and provide them.
this is like something we chucked out ages ago? I feel like we liked, but I feel like maybe it's become kind of irrelevant now, considering where Rey is starting in the story.
Yeah.
But does Rey still have the quarterstaff, and do we still want to see a piece of a quarterstaff become part of her lightsaber?
That
It should.
there's potential there. That
Does
could
it-
be really cool.
Yeah.
Looks cool. I'm just not sure how she's starting anymore. If it
Yeah.
makes sense for her to start with the quarterstaff.
It is an interesting question of like the visuals of how Rey looks, because it's, you know, we've got the scavenger look with the staff and like the flowing fabrics and stuff. But then more and more, the more we talk about bounty hunter Rey, which
Yeah.
is something we've been talking about recently,
Oh,
Cole.
wow. Yeah.
You've got Rey with 2 blasters and
Yeah.
and like some cool bounty hunter armor kind of thing. Not Mandalorian armor,
Mm.
but like some kind of battle armor and blaster armor of some kind. You know, that visual is also cool. So the question of like, what is she incorporating? What is a part of her own personality that's becoming a part of this lightsaber? Which
Yeah.
is something we've seen with like Ezra Bridger.
Yeah.
And something we've seen with the expanded lore of Luke and his
Mm.
lightsaber and that kind of thing. So I feel like the quarterstaff is a great example and a great opportunity for that.
Yeah, same. No, I still really like it, but in that sense, like, you know, like what pieces does she need?
Yeah.
Remaining.
Yeah.
If you know she's got.
Oh,
the
you need
quarterstaff.
you need the grip.
you need the grip.
And we've run out of molds. She's like, I got something, and then she snaps her stick over her leg. You know,
Yeah.
symbolizing she's snapping away the old life and forging something new.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
shit.
right.
Deep.
Wow.
Fucking kill me. Anyway.
It's a great idea. Babu Frik should be in immense pain 24/7.
All right. we're going to go further down Bryce's crazy train of the lightsaber construction. Babu has a monopoly on the construction of black market lightsabers.
No.
Sells them to the highest bidder, most often bounty hunters and elite bodyguards. Now, I didn't realize, and I just really didn't think this one through at all, shockingly. So if we're talking about, like, we've mentioned the black market lightsaber thing in the past.
Yeah.
Does that, because that's a part of Clone Wars, in the Clone Wars show. In the Clone Wars show, we've seen the droid help them assemble the lightsaber, but the Jedi has to fuse it together.
Yeah.
You know, giving the impression that every lightsaber must be fused by a Force wielder. Is that the
impression?
understanding?
The impression
like
that
that.
every Jedi, every lightsaber in the past has been.
Yeah.
Not necessarily has to be.
Yeah.
But it has been.
And that's, if they're talking about the black market, the majority of those lightsabers would be Jedi forged and
Yes.
Yes.
previously owned.
Yeah.
Previously owned lightsabers that were all, even though we're decanonizing comics anyway, but
Yeah.
like there is like a lightsaber burning.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, yeah, they throw a bunch of lightsabers into a pile and burn
Yeah.
them all and
Yeah.
stuff.
And I do like that lightsabers have that deep connection to their creator as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why like it's so powerful when Grievous has a collection of lightsabers.
That aren't
It'd be
his, like-
it'd be a little dodgy if it's just like, oh, I have lightsabers,
Yeah.
But just they bought.
And yeah, it's something that we've played around with. Oh, it's
Yeah.
something I've definitely played around with, is having like a main villain who isn't a Force user, who has a red
Yes.
lightsaber.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was a black market acquired lightsaber
Yeah.
that's, you know, maybe centuries old kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I take it you're on board with the idea of non-Force users being able to wield lightsabers?
Well, yeah, like we've seen Grievous, you know. He was trained in
Yeah.
like how to use the
That's
lightsaber,
true.
but he doesn't
Yeah.
have the Force.
But he was
not
a
Force wielder.
robot
Yeah.
as well.
And
or
he's
cyborg.
a robot, and he's like a
Mm.
very unnatural kind of character.
Yeah.
But you know, it's something we've seen in canon
That's true.
at least once or twice.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
No, it absolutely is. Like not without like great difficulty
Yeah.
and like not being very natural with the weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, I'm gonna set my arms out in front of me and just rotate my robot arms and turn this like laser sword that is like a fencing dueling weapon
Yeah.
into just a rotating blade of death.
I
kind of
know,
thing.
yeah. It's a cool visual, but I mean, that's why I prefer Grievous. I mean, everyone says this, but I prefer Grievous in the 2D animated one.
Well, another part of Grievous is that his like lightsaber training, he was taught by Dooku.
Yeah.
But it's also like programmed into him. as well.
Ah,
it's a-
Like it's like a
combat.
part of his like cybernetics.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Well, that makes sense. So, in terms of like black market lightsaber selling, then it would be, I guess, presumably very difficult to create a black market if, let's say, it's difficult to design a lightsaber that is powered by a kyber crystal. It's
Mm.
something that is like difficult and something that is just not mainstream or common because they're very rare. They have a lot of connotations to them. Very
Also,
expensive.
Yeah, if you're building one from scratch, finding a kyber crystal,
Yeah.
pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
difficult.
I was in my
Especially post Empire as well.
in my mind, it was for like elite bodyguards and crime lords and that kind of thing, like
Mm.
people who would have a reason to have such a weapon and be trained with it. But if you're building a weapon that is extremely expensive, hard to create, and anyone who uses it is at high risk of personal body harm to themselves by using it, doesn't seem like that'd be a very popular weapon.
Yeah, you'd think most people would go for like the more accommodating things like what is it, like vibra steel or
Yeah.
steel? No.
It is Vibra.
Vibro blades, yeah.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
like the vibrating knives and
Yeah.
shit that you see in Mando.
As well as like, you know, like there's like a million other like sort of like electricity based
Well, there's the magma
Yeah.
guards from
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith.
I think to sort of parrot off the point of like lightsabers being hard to acquire and stuff, could be very interesting if, you know, during the reign of the Empire, they kind of like just destroyed or at least used up all of the kyber, right?
Yeah,
So it's hard to even acquire the parts to make a lightsaber. So-
they either did the lightsaber burning or they repurposed the kyber crystals.
Yeah,
for them.
exactly. So
Or, like,
Either
the
of
Death
those are an
Star.
interesting
Yeah.
way to spin it.
and that could make obtaining a lightsaber very interesting for someone like Rey.
Or
Maybe she
Luke
need- Yeah.
is my thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm fucking setting shit up for later on. Don't you worry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my last note. Perhaps Babu is leading a team of Anzellans who are designing Death Star laser tech. I just
Could you repeat that?
sorry, I forgot what I wrote, and this is so funny.
Did you write this at 3 a.m. in the morning?
No, this was a midnight one. Anzellans. Okay, sorry. Babu is leading a team of Anzellans who are designing Death Star lasers for
I
outer
stayed
rim.
up unusually late, like 2 nights ago, and I saw that you were still up on TikTok. I'm
Yeah.
like, he's coming up with stupid Star Wars ideas. I
That's
can
exactly
feel
it. Babu is leading a team of Anzellans who are designing Death Star laser tech for outer rim crime lords and get caught in the crossfire between the New Republic and the crime lords.
I don't want to make
Sold.
the
Yeah, Coles, I knew you'd be with me, Cole.
I'm on
I
that
knew
one.
it.
Yeah.
One
Alright.
thing I did want to avoid
Yeah.
was making Inzelans not like avoiding making them too similar to the I believe it's like I can't remember if this is the name of them or this is like their species like Ugnugs.
Ugnaughts?
Yeah.
Ugnaughts.
Yeah.
Yes. The like Ugnaughts were like technologically advanced species, then like brought in and sort of like treated as slaves under the Empire because
Ah.
of like how good they were with like
Yeah.
building and like technology and engineering.
Interesting.
That's my idea. I just came up with. It's Anzelans are the slave race native to Exegol that are in charge of all the cloning, and Babu Frik is like Wicket, and they have to free the Anzelans.
I love that you came up with the exact counterpoint of what I was trying. Oh boy,
But it could be Ugnaughts.
it could just be Ugnaughts at that point. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I don't know anything about Ugnaughts.
Yeah.
So
There's
it
those
makes
little
sense.
guys. They're in Cloud City,
Yeah, and Mando, you
and
know?
they're in
Yeah.
Mando.
And
yeah,
he's,
there's
you
one
know,
in
this
Mando,
guy's
and
saying
he's
like,
ex-Imperial.
yeah, he's ex-imperial.
He's
He's like,
not proud of its history.
I'm not proud of it, but like I didn't have a choice, and I've worked my way
Yeah,
out of it, and
yeah.
I'm very proud of who I am now.
Yeah,
Do not insult me. Like treat me with respect, kind of thing. Like
yeah.
I've,
Don't treat me like
Yeah.
an imp.
I've worked for my freedom. You
Mm.
know, it was a very
He was
interesting
like
character.
one of the best Mando characters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why
Yeah.
season one's so good.
Yeah.
Season 1 is.
Absolutely.
I really love the idea that Anzelans are like this engineer race, but if we've already got the Ugnaughts,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But perhaps
Yeah.
they're a different type of engineering race.
I mean, yeah, specifically droidsmiths. They build all the droids. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good to make them a bit more like methodical and like not time sensitive. The opposite.
Mm.
Like they get to really like just take their time with what they're building and like treat it
Yeah.
with care.
Interesting.
Which I think lends well to droid smithing.
Yeah.
It does also lend well to like the idea of them being like related to lightsabers in some sense.
Well, what we see him do the most of is wiring and electrical, like circuitry stuff,
Mm.
you know, which is very different to being a forge master, being
Yeah.
a smith and smithing things, which is something that I would assume the Ugnaughts are like industrious and are
Yeah.
like factory workers, kind of in that sense, as opposed to something that is a little bit more advanced and difficult in the nitty gritty of it.
Yeah.
because the
Coding and a
electrical-
bit like a lot of soldering and whatnot.
Yeah.
coding, soldering, working with electrical circuitry, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
It seems to me like the Anzelans, or at least Babu Frick, they work very well with like makeshift tech and all that because they're kind of like whatever I can use. And you said they're very methodical and studious, but is Babu? Because I don't know, it could have just been the 2-minute compilation we saw, but it seemed like he works very fast.
Yeah.
He
And-
does kind of work kind of fast
Yeah.
as well. This
Yeah.
is true. This is true.
That's why they could be resourceful for crime.
It's
the spice
I
run.
love the idea of it's like the chop shop. You know?
Yeah.
Like you take whatever you need chopped up and like coded or fixed or rewired or retooled.
Babu's your
You
guy.
take it to Babu Frik, you take
Yeah,
it to
yeah.
your local Anzellan chop shop kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not to
Repair it.
not to build a droid or fix a car or a speeder or something like that.
Yeah.
Not something that's like huge that
like,
needs
replace parts
replacing
and
an
stuff.
engine, but if you want to recode it or break through the locks
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
some imperial kind of coding.
Like you want to like
Yeah.
iOS crack your
Exactly. That's
phone.
what I was thinking.
Fuck, he is a code breaker. Shit.
He's a pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yarg.
And yeah, like break through like firewalls and rewire things and that kind
Yeah.
of thing. Well, that's definitely what we see him do, and it's like how far away do we want to get from that? Because
Yeah.
if you know we go into this idea of like forging lightsaber
Mm.
components, it's a little bit of a stretch to get from that from
Yeah.
like
Mm.
forging metal components to rewiring.
Another
technology.
question I have for you, and I didn't think this would come up in a Babu Frick episode, so thank you very much.
Welcome.
Do we want to see Rey actually forge physically a lightsaber in the movie?
I fucking would love that.
Yes, I
We've
would like
never
that.
seen
It's
it.
something that like one is time consuming. One I'd love to see it, but it does like feel a bit more at home in something like a TV show, something like Clone Wars
Or a video game, like
or a
Jedi.
video game.
Jedi Survivor.
Like dedicating a whole scene
Yeah.
to it as big as a moment as it feels like. It's not like it's an individual character moment
Yeah.
and doesn't feel like it quite synergizes with like any other character other than the person making the lightsaber.
I
Yeah.
see where you're coming from, and I think it's very much about like what is the type of journey that you're trying to tell. When we
Mm.
start with Luke in Return of the Jedi, he's gotten to a place where he believes he is an accomplished Jedi and he has nothing left to learn, but he
Mm.
does.
Yeah.
And we need to see him, you know, he goes from being a Jedi Knight who has embraced what it means to be a Jedi and what that power means in terms of fighting for what you believe in. But the lesson he learns is to hold on to that compassion and be able to do it all, to save your
Yeah.
father and defeat the Emperor, and truly embraced the selflessness of being a Jedi.
Yeah.
So as a part of that journey, you don't need to see him make a lightsaber because he's already accomplished. He's already made it. So when you start that story, you don't need to establish like, oh, I need to go make the lightsaber. It makes more sense to start him with one. With someone like Rey, where we've been asking the question of like, if we're saying she's an apathetic character, she doesn't care about the galaxy, she needs to start to care. She needs to believe in what's happening. I think showing the scene of her making her lightsaber and like that being a symbol of like her connection to caring about the galaxy now, I think could be really powerful.
Okay, no,
In terms of like an actual storytelling moment, not just showing it on screen because it's cool.
Yeah,
having
no,
it
I
have
agree.
some power behind it narratively
Yeah, it's
as
a
well.
huge symbolic.
I do
moment
like that.
Yeah.
for a Force user.
in that sense, like I feel like it's definitely like I want to see Rey make a lightsaber. When do you even see that timeline wise?
Second movie.
Second movie?
Yeah, during the second movie.
Do you imagine her
First or second
getting her
act of the second
hands on a
movie.
lightsaber during the first movie?
Potentially. I'm actually leaning more and more away from that the more we talk about it. But
Yeah.
once more, this is a Babu Frik episode.
Yes,
So
that's
let's
true.
backtrack to Babu Frik. Have we got any other possible pitches for what we could do with this crazy, goofy character in our sequel movies? Before we move on to Babu Frik, a Star Wars story.
It's had the. It just came to me, but kill him. Yeah, I was like, I can't say that. Just like
Fucking-
step on him.
Just
It
had, like,
feels
the-
wrong, right?
Push him.
Like you
the
just
intrusive
don't wanna,
thought.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to get rid of him
No,
because
he's
it's
too
just
cute.
he's so cute. It's such a
Yeah.
fun moment, but it's such a, like a really like
Yeah. And I think
could
there's
be on
something
Red
to be
Wedding.
said for having little characters like Babu Frik and the
Yeah.
Anzellans who do come along in the final battle. Because we really
Yeah,
want
like
to do
Ewoks.
justice to that final battle, like
Mm.
the big epic climax of like we're once again coming together to defeat evil, you know.
Yeah.
We want to do that. And Babu Frik being there feels right.
He's the key to all of this.
he's the key to all of this.
We're about to prove it too. Our final chapter of this
Oh,
episode,
boy.
Babu Frik, a Star Wars story. God damn, I'm excited about this.
Cole, you were
You were very
You're
keen to
itching
jump in
at it.
earlier,
Yes,
so
I'm
you
keen.
hit us with it.
Get this one out of the way. All right.
Not out of
let's
the way.
see.
I'm excited.
All right,
I'm very
excited.
excited.
So, I mean, before we go into this, the first things we need to acknowledge about Babu Frik are, one, his potential love interest in the past. Two,
I didn't realize
he-
that was canon. That's so funny.
yeah, well, it's what the actress said.
As inferred by the actress, which I feel
Yeah.
like is the leading knowledge on who Babu Frik is.
Got a pain in his eyes and his voice. And also, he's a part of the Spice Runners of Kijimi, so he has extensive criminal experience.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
So, how did he go from a bright, optimistic young boy into the galaxy's greatest crime lord? So, Babu Frik, a Star Wars story. Act 1. So, amongst the backdrop of Order 66.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're going all the way back there.
all the way back.
Babu
the way.
Frik is a tech prodigy in Coruscant's seedy underbelly, where he works around repairing droids and stuff. And one of the places he regularly repairs is Dexter Jettster's diner. Now,
Oh my god.
If you don't know about Dexter Jettster, canonically, he was a part of Maz Kanata's pirate crew and
What the
retired to start.
fuck?
Yeah, these
Yeah.
are the things I
That's
found
within
out.
like recent Disney canon.
Yes, that's current
even
canon,
in
not
old
legends.
lore, Legends, he was a spy as well.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense from Attack of
Yeah.
the Clones.
So Dexter, he runs the diner, but it's not as busy as it used to be in episode 2.
Yeah.
Currently, Order 66 is going on. The galaxy is crumbling. The war has impoverished everyone, and he's struggling, but he's still running his diner. Now, while repairing one of his diner droids, Babu Frik discovers a piece of encrypted data revealing that Dexter has this criminal past.
Mm-hmm.
And struggling, Babu Frik realizes, I'm going to blackmail Dexter Jettster, and we're going to form the greatest spice running ring the galaxy has ever seen.
That's a wild leap. I can see the blackmail. That's really
Yeah.
great. He's just like, I need some coins right now.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
just threaten him with like releasing this, I can get some
yeah,
money.
yeah. But, Dexter is short on cash, so he agrees, and he respects Babu's drive.
Respects his hustle.
Yeah, respects his hustle. Now, initially, they run a few deals, on the streets,
Yeah.
peddling the spice, but they need to expand their operation. So in comes Watto, who gives them, and he gives them seed money for a cut of the profits. Now, their their operation begins to expand, and Dex's diner turns into the seedy hive of spice smuggling operations. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you know this guy, but Yeez, he was one of the
Oh my god.
he was one of Jabba's little guys in episode 6.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So what I should tell you about this is the Avengers of obscure characters.
You know what? I was beginning to get that.
You're
Yeah.
just throwing
It's the Avengers of obscure characters. Now, Yeez, he's just a low-level street boss, so they think.
Uh-huh.
And as their operation expands, he attacks the diner to send a message.
Oh shit!
But Babu, despite his innocence, he feels compelled to send a message back.
No.
And they raid a spice shipment by Reese.
Shit, this Babu took a
And-
life.
Yes, unfortunately, when Babu goes to confront the street dealers, he gets a bit ahead of himself and he's confronted with violence. So in self-defense, he takes his first life. And then
How?
with
Yeah, with what gun? What gun can he hold?
shank.
He shanks?
You see him
Shanks
like
them.
Chucky, just like climb up the back of someone and just
Strangles
like knife into the
them, yeah.
neck.
Yeah, something like
Does
that.
he sit in a like the Enzelin does to the
Like
the
IG-11?
droid? IG-11.
Yeah.
Does he sit in a droid?
That's a great idea. Yeah, let's have him sit on a droid.
He's wearing a mech suit.
Yeah, it's like Davros. You know,
Yeah.
from Doctor Who.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's got a little wheelchair, floating around. They intercept this in this intense, high-speed set piece through the underbelly of Coruscant. They intercept the shipment, and after defeating Reese, they uncover a droid, this defunct droid, which when they when our famous droid Smith begins to deprogram, he discovers there is a holocron hidden within it,
right.
and that kicks off the MacGuffin.
What?
Meanwhile, Reese escapes and informs his superior, Salacious B. Crumb.
His superior?
Yeah.
Look, I wanted Salacious Crumb in this, but you telling me that this mob boss is reporting to Salacious
Yes,
Crumb?
who is the current new-coming jester for...
Heir. He's
Um,
the heir to
yeah.
Jabba's throne.
He has a
The
big...
one true
Apparently
heir.
in lore, he's actually not just a little creature.
Yeah,
He's like a thief and intelligent mastermind.
What?
Yeah, I know,
Salacious
it shocked me.
Crumb.
I was like, why would you do that?
Fuck you! I can't believe you're doing this.
Yeah,
right now.
and Act 1 ends with Palpatine announcing the formation of the Galactic Empire and the crackdown on crime.
Wow.
So we go to Act 2, where they go to Canto Bight. Now, Watto has informed them that this holocron could amass a major amount of money on the black market. So they go to Canto Bight to meet with a mysterious buyer.
Codebreaker.
Yeah, with the codebreaker.
With the red
Yeah,
bomb
mystery-
bloom.
Yeah.
He's just standing there still.
Who's the mysterious buyer?
Oh, you'll see. Now, when they arrive, Babu and Dex, they're just there. And that's when they see the inept Senator Jar Jar Binks, who is currently super depressed over his role in Palpatine's Arise.
I can't believe you're doing
Yes.
this. I can't believe you're doing this.
And seeing an opportunity, Babu and Dex blackmail Bink with evidence of adultery and substance use.
They go black to blackmail again.
Yeah, exactly, and they use him as a tool. Now, meanwhile,
That
as
man's
this-
been used too much.
as they are searching for the master buyer, Babu comes across Zira Wazel, who is the twin sister of that strange changeling bounty hunter from episode 2.
Zam.
Yeah, Zam, the OC
Really?
twin sister
Yeah.
that I came up with.
Changeling,
Okay.
yeah.
And
The self-insert character.
they immediately hit it off.
Oh, wow.
And they hook up. And when Babu awakes, he realizes that he's like restrained, and she's grabbed the holocron. And
Black catted him.
yeah, and meanwhile, Dex is looking around, and that's when he notices all around Canto Bight, there's all these mysterious bounty hunters, and all of a sudden, there is a raid by newly formed Imperial law enforcement, run by, I forget his name, but one of the guys on the Security Council from Episode 6, who are like,
Alright.
that ancient religion is wrong, Vader.
Yeah.
That guy. Cassio Targe, I think.
Episode 4.
Yes, Episode 4.
Oh my god.
Yes. So this is a huge set piece where, the holocron's shifting hands all throughout Canto Bight as they're escaping.
There's
and
like a
trying to chase it
huge
down.
bounty hunter war mixed
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
Imperial
The
law
Imperials.
enforcement, and they're all trying to get the holocron.
Exactly. And you've got Jar Jar being inept as usual,
Yeah.
but he's stringed along. And all of a sudden, there's one last mysterious person who shows up, Jocasta Nu, and she's after the holocron.
Fuck.
Now, she is the librarian from
Yes.
the Jedi Academy, and she is a survivor canonically for Order 66.
Did you give her lightsaber gun?
Does she have one?
Yeah, that's a comic
She's got
thing.
a lightsaber gun that like has like a one-time blast of crystals.
You
of
load a
kyber crystals.
lightsaber into the sniper rifle. It shoots a mini Death Star beam.
What?
And it melts the lightsaber and destroys the crystal inside.
That's amazing. Okay, second draft that's going in.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, just imagine she has her gun and it's like, will she use it? It's like,
Yeah.
yes. So, Jocasta
Yep.
has obtained the holocron and she escapes in her little Jocasta ship. All of a sudden, they're cornered and they have to get out of here. And that's when, Max Rebo and his tour van, because as you see, he's currently touring on the Intergalactic Peace Tour, where he's trying to raise money for all the orphan war kids.
Wait, no. Did he die? Did he die on Jabba's ship? Was he on the pleasure
No, because
barge?
he shows up in Book of Boba Fett. Yeah,
he does.
so
He does.
he canonically lives. Yeah, so he is this bright, young-eyed musician, and he takes them on the tour van, and they pursue Jocasta. Reasons unknown. To the planet of Ilum, where she reveals in a great expository sequence that the holocron details all the locations of all the younglings. It's so cool. And her plan is, save the younglings. Oh, amazing.
Just quickly, do you know the plot of Jedi Fallen Order?
That's right. It is the holocron, isn't it? Yeah.
I was just checking if you had forgotten or.
I did kind of forget, but I do remember that.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Canon does it all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
True,
It's
true.
the same holocron.
Yeah. The same holocron, yeah.
It's the same holocron. And so unfortunately, all the enemy forces arrive, including the Inquisitors. They arrive on Ilum. And in a great sequence at the end, Jocasta dies. Ooh. But she passes on this message to save the younglings.
To who?
Dexter and Max Rebo. And together they're like, we got to save the younglings now. Yeah, so I can't remember how the rest of Act 2 goes, but they are, we're starting to see that Babu is becoming more and more morally ambiguous. This is very much a Walter White situation. He is the Heisenberg of Star Wars. And his mentor relationship with Dexter becomes more insidious when he starts to push Dexter to do more morally bad things.
Is Dexter the bloody...
He's the Jesse Pinkman to
the
our
Jesse
Walter White.
Pinkman?
As we move forward to Act 3, they use Jar Jar as a means to publicize the mission to save the Jedi younglings. Unfortunately, he's inept. He's causing issues. So Babu says to Dex, you have to kill him. And Dexter, he turns himself into the Imperials and he joins them and he says, we have to take down him. He can't keep getting away with this. And
And it fades to black. It says Babu will return.
and then it fades back in. Yeah.
And then the next hour
Because
begins.
Cole's
Yeah.
not done.
It's a time jump, yes.
This
But
is the
don't worry,
second
we
intermission.
are at the very end of Act 3. They mourn the losses of Jar Jar. Rebo doesn't want a part of this anymore. And
He was in it for the music.
yeah. And teaming up with Dexter teamed up with Cassio Tage. They track down Babu. And it ends with a tense exchange between Babu and Dexter. And in the end, Dexter dies. And the film, the epilogue is Babu returns to Watto on Tatooine. And Watto's little shop, it's running dry. It's not getting the business anymore. He's shutting down. And Watto's like, oh, you're so morally...
Don't do the Watto voice and talk about morals, please, for the love of God. Don't talk about morals whilst doing Watto's voice.
Anyway, he says that. And he's like heartbroken, It's like, you're not the Babu I know. And Babu's like, hey! And that's when it cuts out. And, he goes on, his empire's ended, but he goes on to join the Spice Runners as the resident expert of the spice trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cole.
You're welcome.
Cole, that was
For
better
that.
than anything I could have brought in.
Directed by
That was
Scorsese.
Directed by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. The
Dude,
big
that's
butts.
real cinema.
Thank you. The big butts.
You'd
were flying.
win the award for most blown out piece of audio on this podcast, I think ever.
I noticed. Oof.
Anyways,
Bryce is like dying inside.
yeah, that fucking killed me. I feel like I lost
expected-
years, man.
I have one
Expected.
question in a with a story like based around like the crime world.
Mm.
Is there any room for Hondo Onaka?
Absolutely.
Because I feel like he was missed.
Yeah.
If there's anything that this story needs, it's more stuff.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. This is just the skeleton of it, right?
Yeah, it needs
More
Hondo
characters.
Onaka. Like
Yeah,
he
well,
needs
it's
to
gonna
be,
be-
part of
Yeah.
somewhere. He needs to because he's a pirate. He needs to be a part of.
Yeah,
he's in the
yeah.
game.
My plan, I think Hondo, he has a perfect role in there.
Mm,
I don't
mm.
know in what capacity, but he belongs in there.
Yeah,
And the other thing, is I wanted more meaningless cameos. We could have Obi-Wan in the opening, We could have
Mace
like-
Windu. Mace
yeah,
Windu.
Mace
is
Windu, he's alive, but
but we don't
nothing.
focus on it.
Exactly, yeah. That's the thing, I
He's
wanted
just in Dexter's bar, and
Yeah.
he's like scarred up and stuff, and he's like, "Thanks, Dex," and he leaves.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's it. That's the only time we
That's
see Mace
amazing.
Windu.
Yeah. We can have Darth Maul show up,
Yeah,
all the fun stuff,
Mm.
Because this is a film for fans.
Cole,
For the fans.
Yeah,
You're a
it's not
genius.
it's not political.
You know the people.
It's
and
not
of,
woke.
of all of us, you're going to be the one who Disney hires. I guarantee it.
Yeah, thank
So-
you. Thank you, Disney. I'm here.
Listeners, if you're still with us, thank you, and I'm sorry. Let's move on. Sandro, you got something?
Yeah, I don't even know how to follow up mine.
Just pretend that didn't happen.
no,
That's what I'm gonna do.
Because that was too good.
Yeah.
Like that was too good.
It's
So this is
canonical.
something
It
Chat
fits canonical
GPT
plan.
did up for me.
Oh yeah, it's our ChatGPT section.
ChatGPT did something. The problem with ChatGPT is you ask it to make a story about Babu Frik,
Yeah.
and it immediately wants to incorporate the sequel characters.
Yes.
Mm.
So because he shows up in Rise of Skywalker, he's only in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just give me 1 second here, Sandro. I'm going to get on my soapbox. So, just a quick thing on ChatGPT. So this is an AI language learning model. It doesn't actually fill the role of AI in the dictionary definition of the word.
It's semantics, though.
It
It's-
is.
I would argue that it is not semantics. Because I think a lot of people out there, they go, oh, ChatGPT, DALL-E 2 and that kind of thing. They're going to change the way art is made forever. Like artists have to work so much harder to keep up. And if you're one of the people who believe that, please go and just read about how it's actually made.
Well, machine learning and all that.
Machine learning is not it's not the inspiration the way that humans do it. It's theft. It's taking a bunch of art and copying it and spitting out something that vaguely looks like the thing that you saw. I love AI art and I love AI
Yeah.
algorithms.
And I love AI in use of like
when it's like a tool. Right?
When it
Uses
is
the
used
tool.
in service of artists in stuff like Photoshop and the way that they use AI to generate backgrounds and stuff like that. If
stuff
it's
like
used,
DaVinci,
Yeah,
incorporating AI to like read the focal depth,
yes,
for like color grading enhancements
Yeah,
and editing,
yeah.
stuff like that.
AI in the service of artists, not content and art theft of artists and taking money away from artists. And
Yeah.
the great example right now, what we're seeing is corporations using AI instead of paying concept artists or paying graphic designers because they can just automatically
Yeah,
generate
if you
graphic
can
design.
do it, you should.
Yeah. Don't fucking do that. Always
Yeah.
pay your artists. Don't just...
Exactly, because how is the industry gonna like hold itself up?
And that's the reason we saw such a successful and supported writer's strike this year is because the studios were within a year or two of this technology coming online were already trying to cut writers out of the picture
And
so that they
ham-fisted it.
Yeah.
and
And
ham-fisted
it
it.
doesn't work.
And it doesn't work currently, and it's going to take a very long time for it to get
Yes.
to a point where it does work in the future because it is theft, and it's not good theft. Language models, especially language models, operate on just what is the most likely thing that I need to say to generate an effective response to the input I just received. It's not actually AI. It is a language model. It's just generating the statistically most likely thing that's going to be the answer that you're looking for when you put in the prompt.
I feel like this is a great discussion to have in the post show because I have a lot of thoughts about AI.
I just wanted to get my soapbox real quick because
Yeah.
we love talking shit about ChatGPT here. It's
Yeah,
incredible technology, and it's we really just don't believe that it's going to replace art.
Yeah, I've been following AI for years and
Yeah.
stuff, and for me, like, I feel like I remember going on and on about it, like, back in, like, 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
No one took it seriously as an issue, so I have a lot of thoughts in the post
Yeah.
show.
We'll jump more into it in the
Yeah.
post show. So if you're interested, jump
Follow
on to
it very
Patreon
closely.
and check it out the post show.
Yeah.
But that's just the quick thought
Yeah.
on ChatGPT, and that's how we're going to be using it here. Not because we think it actually works, but because it's hilarious.
We actually were going to hire a writer, but...
Yeah. And also, just quickly, I also have no faith in us as writers whatsoever, so it's very likely that this will be better than what we write. But that's not because ChatGPT's good, it's because we're bad.
Well, I'm a career writer, man.
No, you're good. I mean, we as in
Thank
Mello
you.
and
I
Sandro.
know you love
Yeah.
You're
me.
great.
Yeah, I can't do shit. So yeah, ChatGPT made this. I put in some certain things. I even like specified that I wanted it to be
Like a Babu story.
like Babu story. I wanted
Yeah.
it to be prequel. It still wanted to ham-fist these like our main story characters.
Like Ray and Finn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
This is what I could get. Title: Star Wars Babu Frik Espionage Protocol.
Ew. Ew.
Genre: spy thriller. Babu Frik, the droidsmith, is thrust into the perilous espionage world and is recruited by the Resistance to infiltrate the secretive ranks of the First Order Splinter Cell and uncover their sinister plans.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's this really long thing, but I'm not sure.
It's just like word vomit.
It's word vomit. It's
Yeah.
absolute word vomit. It's doing that thing ChatGPT does where it's like, and Babu, continuing his work as a droidsmith, encounters new friends and allies, but doesn't like
Yeah.
specify any
Don't film
characters.
details.
Yeah.
Babu's heroic actions are celebrated, and he returns to Jakku, continuing his work as a droidsmith. He was never in Jakku. But he will always remember, because he's progressed as a character, he will never forget this unique and unforgettable adventure.
Those
Good
are going to
lord.
be my pitches.
Like, it's just like so like blank.
And
of
there's
Yeah.
no
detail.
there's usually no named locations and no named characters and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or like if there is a named character, it's just like Han or
Yeah.
Chewie. or
It's
something
very
like that.
funny.
No.
It's like Poe reveals that the enigmatic First Order Splinter Cell, known as the Shadow Fist, is developing a weapon of mass destruction that threatens the balance of power in the galaxy.
God damn.
Mm.
Thanks, ChatGPT. It's good shit.
My favorite sentence is probably Babu Frik, now equipped with state-of-the-art gadgets and droid companion for support, infiltrates the Shadow Fist under a fabricated identity. I really wanted it to. I wrote an arc for it to make a spy thriller with Babu Frik.
Fuck yeah. That's gold.
His journey leads him through a series of dangerous encounters, including high-stakes heists, tense negotiations, and narrow escapes.
All right.
Yeah.
Good lord. Anything else from the our AI adventure today, Sandro?
Well, he forms great alliances, and he never forgets the unforgettable adventure that he
Wow.
encountered.
You know what? It truly was
heartwarming.
unforgettable.
Yeah, I think if they were to do a serious Babu Frik movie, they could totally do like a heist movie with the Spice Runners.
I think I specifically wrote Andor style as well.
Andor
I
style,
wanted it
yeah.
to be like in the style of Andor.
Yeah.
A Babu Frik story.
Honestly, like a Poe Dameron movie or a Zori Bliss like kind
Yeah.
of comic or something like that, where it is just like the spice running kind of group in that sequel era.
Yeah.
Could be really cool, like what
Baby
spice
Driver.
running and what crime looks like in that period of time. But,
Yeah.
we've talked heaps about the underworld on this show, and we're going to talk more about it as our story evolves.
What's your idea, Bryce?
Whoa,
What's your
baby!
masterpiece?
Cast your mind back, not as far as Order 66, but to 1981. When the fuck did Empire come out?
Yeah, 81, I think.
We have ourselves a prequel
Right.
tale, a prequel in terms of like the sequels.
Mm.
It's going back. Of how Babu Frik helped Luke Skywalker build his lightsaber after the Empire strikes back. The Empire had enslaved the Enzellan homeworld, for the Enzellans are a race of legendary engineers and mechanists. The Empire has put them to work designing new forms of weaponry and fixing the fatal flaw of the Death Star 2, and designing a way that they could be fired and doing all that stuff. Do we actually know who did that in the comics? Because I don't read that shit.
It's certainly at the
Did what?
Gymnasiums.
Like, designed the Death Star 2 without the flaw.
Oh,
Mm.
I don't know if that's
not to my knowledge.
Mello would know, but if we put him on this
Yeah.
episode of the show, his brain would explode. So, the story follows Babu Frik, an enslaved engineer who is keeping his head down and working hard due to the fear of losing his beloved wife if he starts any trouble. She's also like a hostage, but she's also working.
Yeah.
This all changes when his wife tragically dies due to the dangerous workplace. It's a very unsafe kind of factory. Babu Frik is now an Enzellan with nothing to lose and begins to build his way out of prison. Nothing but a box of scraps in a cave. His fellow Enzellans tell him to stop as he's putting them all at risk, but Babu doesn't care. He's a true anti-hero.
Oh.
Babu gets in
Sigma.
touch with Luke Skywalker and the Rebels. He will set the factory up from the inside, and the Rebels can take it from the outside. But they can't do it without a Jedi, and Luke doesn't have a lightsaber anymore. Babu Frik has the solution. Luke must sneak into the factory where Babu can forge him a new one right under the Empire's nose. The combination infiltration heist, forging montage, prison break that follows will be a tale that goes down in history as the greatest piece of Star Wars media, nay, the greatest story the world has ever known. Babu Frik, a Star Wars story. And that's how Luke gets his
That-
screen's lightsaber.
That is box office success.
It's a masterpiece.
That is the one.
In our denouement, in our epilogue,
Ooh.
Babu then becomes an outcast, seen as a betrayer of his fellow Enzellans, and too much of a loose cannon for the rebellion. He goes on to become a morally grey mechanic working on the Outer Rim.
Mm.
Done.
Hell yeah.
I feel like it was just in that TikTok series where the guy does the Mad Libs.
Yeah.
Like snorts coke and
Yeah.
then fucking proceeds to make a perfect
Mm.
Marvel movie pitch.
So Babu Frik is your Sigma male.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Hell
he's the
yeah.
perfect man.
Yeah.
And he's played by Ryan Gosling.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is not the one for this podcast, but I did have a pitch for an Adrian Brody Bothan spy movie.
Dude, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. Incorporate that.
I
The
will.
Bothan
Already.
spies are the Death Star 2
It's
plans and
true,
stuff.
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
Rogue One, but for
Yeah,
Babu
yeah.
Frik and the Bothan.
And what we were gonna do with Adrian Brody, we were in talks with him. What we were gonna do with Adrian Brody is we were gonna just put makeup on him, like the dog nose and stuff. We weren't gonna like fully both him.
No. Full
But-
boff.
Him.
I want to
Full
see
boff.
Adrian Brody in
Yeah.
the furry ass Bothan
Yeah.
costume.
Yeah, as long as you see his face though, he is the star.
Oh, you'll know it's Adrian Brody. Like, you'll know. But it's like
You'll
it's
know.
like Cats, Adrian Brody.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's Bothan.
Yeah, it was like James Bond. He was gonna be a James Bond type. So
Dude.
yeah, I think put that in your phone.
I think there's a beautiful mix of those ideas there somewhere. But in all honesty, I thought it was a fun idea to have there be like some kind of infiltration of some kind
Yeah.
where Luke has to sneak his way in, forge a lightsaber,
Yeah.
and then like the clock is ticking and he has to build it just as like the Empire busts down the doors to try and kill him, and then he
Yeah.
fights his way out as the rebels attack.
Yeah.
There's like something fun there.
Yeah.
That's like fun.
I do really love the idea as well of Babu Frik being involved in some capacity with Death Star 2. Or
Yeah.
the Enzellans at least.
Yeah,
I think that's
there's-
interesting.
There's something fun there. I don't
The
know.
idea of Bothan movie, unrelated, just brings to mind of like, because we talked about like the Bothans just being like sort of lambs to slaughter because they're retrieving plans that the
It was like they're
Emperor-
retrieving the bait that was designed in the trap. you know?
the
Yeah.
Emperor purposely leaked that information so that
Yeah.
it would go back to the rebels, and I feel like it'd be so devastating to see like end of Rogue One style, maybe like 2/3 into the movie, our main Bothan, remaining Bothan has sent the information out, but then it's uncovered that it's a trap, and he's struggling and he's crawling to try warn them that it's fake,
And then he dies.
and then he dies.
Oh,
Sandro,
wow.
that's genius. I
That
want to
is
see
good.
Adrian Brody die like that.
Yeah, that's Adrian Brody's,
Adrian Brody's
key
character.
role in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That is genius.
Yeah, it was going to be a series as well, like multiple movies.
Oh, like Andor.
Oh, okay.
No, like James Bond.
Oh, and so we keep changing it, and we just go through all the Wes Anderson actors. So we go Adrian Brody, and we go Owen Wilson.
Yeah. That
Hmm.
could be interesting because I was thinking
we
it
go
would be
Bill Murray.
We get Bill Murray.
Bill
as a
Murray
Bothan.
Bothan is like the most cursed thing I've ever heard of.
Sandro, your impression. You're the impressions guy.
No, I can't do Bill Murray.
Anyways, so there's my little pitch for Babu Frik, a Star Wars story.
Yeah,
Takes
I like
place
it.
between Empire and Return of the Jedi.
I can
In
see
full
that.
seriousness, in full seriousness though, send in like what's the actual story of Luke's lightsaber? Like you mentioned that it's like he gets the pieces and stuff. Does he just make it there in Obi-Wan's hut? Do you just
Yeah.
like put it all
Ah.
together?
He's also like working on there is a deleted scene.
Yeah.
Before people point this out,
Mm.
he's sitting in a cave.
Yeah.
And he's like tweaking on the lightsaber a tiny bit with some
Yeah.
tools, and he like turns it on and you see the green flash.
Mm.
And I think it's better that they kept that out of the edit. They
Yeah, I
cut it
agree.
out.
Yeah.
And they leave it until the reveal on the barge ship where it gets shot out of R2D2 and he catches it, and it's big reveal,
Fucking
big
rocks.
fun, awesome time.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect time to reveal it. And I think it really like gets you a bit more into the feel of like not seeing him with a lightsaber makes you feel like he's a bit more sinister because he comes in and he just starts strangling stuff and he starts using very like dark sidey.
Yeah.
Force
And he's wearing
powers.
all black. It's very
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
If you were to like have him come in and start with a green lightsaber, it would maybe defeat that purpose of like him seeing kind of sinister
Yeah.
and evil from the get go.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they kept that out of the
Yeah.
edit.
yeah. Plus, it's a
Um,
more fun surprise.
When he makes the lightsaber, I can't speak to, but I know he's like fiddling with it at
Mm.
the start in that deleted scene.
And then, from like comics and stuff, we have that story of him going to
Yeah.
to Obi-Wan's hut after the events of Empire Strikes Back, after he's lost his hand, creating the new one before Return of the Jedi, and finding a really cool turtleneck to wear.
But yeah, if you have more information on that, love to see it. If you have more,
Yeah, if there's anything we've
If you
missed.
have your
you have
own
stuff-
Barbie pitch movie pitch,
yeah,
let us know.
honestly, I would love to see comments of Babu ideas.
yeah.
Just like Babu in the sequels.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think Babu's up to? What do you think he's doing?
What do you think of the lightsaber pitch idea and like incorporating that more into
Yeah.
the story and having that be like a key thing?
Yeah, and I like that your pitch could feasibly fit in canon.
Yeah, lol.
Well, so can mine. So can mine. It's canon.
Yeah, so could yours, Cole.
That works. That
Yeah,
works.
so could
Fits
yours.
in canon.
It fits.
Nothing conflicts.
No, actually, nothing does.
But I think we could say confidently this has been a resounding success of an episode. Talking
Yeah.
about.
I think it's been a really fun time. I just wish we had like a bit more of a fixture on where Babu comes in.
where Boba
because-
comes in.
I unironically and in all seriousness want to see Babu Frik in our sequels.
Oh, absolutely. I think he fits perfectly in episode 8 for us.
Mm.
Episode 7
Mm.
is already very difficult
No,
with,
I agree.
with so many moving pieces
Absolutely.
and so many
Yeah.
characters. I think when we see the crime underworld in episode 7, it's going to be an antagonistic force. And in episode 8, we're going to have a lot more time to really dive into the nuance of that world and say who lives here, who is a criminal out of necessity and out of, that just being who they are. They were born into it. They have no choice. This is their life for them.
Mm.
And they're called a criminal by the New Republic, but this is just their life. We'll have a lot more time to dive into his character and his involvement in the story. And then Rey, I think, this is a fun thing. If Rey needs a lightsaber built, and if we have a character like Ben Solo, who is so stringent in justice that we've talked about before, and then Luke is like, all right, well, let's go get Rey to make a new lightsaber. And he takes them both into this workshop. And Ben's like, I hate coming here. This is a criminal. He creates things for criminals. He helps criminals at this chop shop. And Luke's like, where else are we going to get the lightsaber? He didn't choose this life. This is the life that exists for him in this galaxy. And you have to be able to understand and be compassionate to everyone, regardless of like where they come from.
Babu.
That's a fun story there.
Babu.
And then he says Babu, and everyone goes, fucking yeah!
Yeah.
Scream in the theater.
Yeah, I find it so funny envisioning just Babu in these very dramatic moments, and it's just Babu.
There is also the thing of
Yeah.
like maybe he doesn't work in dramatic
Yeah.
situations.
But I
It's
do
a bit
like his
silly.
ideas.
The comedic relief that he presents is fantastic, and
Yeah.
that's staying.
Yeah.
That's going to be all for today. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Fixing the Sequel Trilogy. We're here every week talking about Star Wars. Next week, we've got a very exciting project. We're starting our 6-part series of rewriting Force Awakens.
Ooh.
Wish us luck, because good lord, it's been a long road getting here, and spending so much time diving into the backstory, the context, the characters, everything that leads up to the beginning of Force Awakens. And next week will be our first attempt at writing Act 1 of that story with all of that context in mind and all of the ideas that we've been talking about for the past 6 months or so coming to a head and being presented for the first time to our audience. So stay tuned for that. We'll be back next Friday with that one. Until then, check us out on Instagram, TikTok, social media of all kinds, except for X, formerly known as Twitter. Fuck you, Elon Musk. Also, check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars and likes and subscribes, all that good stuff. But until next time, may the Force be with you.